subscribe, like, comment, and hit the notification bell.
Hi, and welcome to my channel. If you're here, I'm assuming you're in the market for some new cookware, and the Instagram famous Caraway is on your list, and you're trying to decide if you should spend your hard-earned money on this cookware. And I don't want to hold you up. Yes, I would purchase this for a friend, a family member, and I would even repurchase it for myself. I have been using this Caraway Cookware as my sole cookware for the past year. I did purchase it with my own money last year on Black Friday. So if you're interested in my overall opinion and how I came to yes, I'd repurchase it, stick to and we'll walk you through it. We'll meaning I, there's no one else. Okay, the first thing you may notice is it looks like I have some pieces to unbox. That is not the case. And sadly, when I unboxed my cookware last year, I recorded everything, but then I had a computer crash and I lost everything. So sad for that. I do think I have one clip of one piece, and I'll kind of explain that. But just to walk you through the cookware itself, there's mainly two sets of the cookware. There is a set you see here. It comes with 3 lids and 4 bottoms. And then you can add on a set of minis that comes with 1 lid and 2 bottoms, or you can also purchase the whole set. And when I did it, you couldn't purchase it as a set. I had to buy this set and then add on the mini set. So that's what I did. And the big set comes in this big box. I kept the box just in case I wanted to return it. And then actually I forgot I had it. So, okay. So anyways, everything comes really nicely packaged. I'll give you a demo of that in a minute, but every piece, this box only contained the big set, not the minis. They came like separate, but everything was really, really well packed. So let's talk about in detail what comes in this pack. So in the main pack, it is currently on sale for $355, and you get the 6.5 quart Dutch oven with a lid. You get the 3-quart saucepan with a lid. You get the 4.5 quart saute pan with a lid. This is probably my most used piece. I like how deep it is, but we'll go into more of my likes and dislikes in a minute. And then the last piece is a 10.5 fry pan. So again, for $355, that's what it'll get you today if you bought it. I think they're already running their sale because it was definitely on sale. I don't know if they're going to have better sales for Black Friday, but I don't think so. That seemed like a pretty good price. So anyways, that comes with this set. And then also with this set, you get the storage for the lids. I store mine in my pantry on the back of the door. I was hesitant that it would fall off. It's held up beautifully. I have no qualms about it falling off or anything like that. I did stick it on, and then I waited 24 hours at least. I think I actually waited over the weekend before adding the lids to make sure that the adhesive was secure. But I will say, when you put the lids in and out, you have to be careful because there is some overlap. So that's just, just be cautious of that. But like I said, you can also add on 2 more pieces, a little mini set. In the mini set, I believe, I don't know how much these are separately, but if you buy the entire set, like as it comes now, it's $476, so like $125 more, which I think I paid more than that, because I think I paid like $90 and $90. I think it was like more like $200 when I bought it. So you're getting a better deal, I feel like, now. So with the minis, you get an 8-inch fry pan, which is really convenient for breakfast items. I use this mainly for eggs and other little sauces and whatnot. And then you also get a 1.75 quart saucepan. They call the saucepans. It's a pot. And then also with both my orders, I say both because I got 2 sets when I ordered. I got their cleaning sponge, they call it a cleaning eraser, and I do recommend these. It's been very good, but we'll go into that as well. And then one thing I highly love is the magnetic holders to organize your cookware. They just snap together magnetically. You can put them in tons of different ways for your cupboards and cabinets. And they are sized specifically for the big boys. That is one thing that I highly dislike, is they do not have this for the minis. Oh, I wish they did. It really helps you save cabinet space. I store mine underneath the stove on the right, and you store them like, well, this one's like this. So it really, you know, it doesn't, when you store them in the cabinet like this, that takes up a lot of space, but this way it doesn't take up any space. Kind of telling you reasons why I like them as I go, and I didn't actually mean to do that. So, back to why do I have pieces that, back to why do I have pieces that appear to be unopened? That is because when I got my initial box, there were several pieces that were nicked, and you could really see it because of my color. I chose the dark blue. Oh, that's one thing I didn't say. There's a ton of color options. You may want to really take that in consideration and not necessarily just pick your favorite color. You may want to take in consideration that it is cookware. Stains show up, nicks show up, and that sort of thing. So take that in consideration, but they have some gorgeous colors. But anyways, when I first did my unboxing, a few of my lids had really bad swirls, and I'm not talking like swirls in the paint. Like, it was, my husband noticed. That should tell you something. And then they would have chips, but the main thing that was the issue is the actual saute pans would have nicks in the coating. And you know, once you get a nick in this ceramic coating, that it will deteriorate very quickly. So I refuse to start off my expensive new cookware. I say expensive because that's, you know, very subjective of people. To me, I consider this mid-range, a slightly high set of cookware. It's a good value for your money, I feel like. But I know for some people, $500 on cookware is just not even, you know, on the radar, and that's completely okay. There's a lot of great options. I love the Rachel Ray set at Walmart, just FYI too. Okay, anyways, back to this. So I received it, and I had 3 pieces nicked, 2 lids and the big boy. Customer service was so great. It was so easy. One phone call the first time with the big boy and the lids. They didn't ask for evidence or anything. They said, okay, no problem, we'll ship you one out. I got it within a few days. However, when I opened it up, it was actually worse. The big boy, the 2 lids, the replacement lids were A-okay, but the big boy was even worse. And I'm talking like that long of a scratch on the outside and the inside. I don't know what happened. So on that one, I contacted customer service. They were really apologetic, but they did ask for me to show them pictures, and I did. And luckily I had pictures from the first time too, so I could show them. I am not, you know, claiming the same damage to like the same damage across the 2 pieces. You know, I had evidence that, hey, both of them were messed up. So, because they never asked me to return the first one. So they sent me a 3rd one, and this one was better, but it still had a nick. And like I said, I'm not starting off my cookware with a nick in the ceramic coating. That's the quickest way to ruin cookware. So they sent me a 4th one, and lo and behold, it looked great. I wasn't good. So it did. Take that in consideration. It took me a while to get a complete set, not nicked. And I don't feel like I was like truly nitpicking. It was like big damage. And they said that's not typical. That's not their quality control. They apologized. And that is when they gave me the free oven mitts as well. So that was nice. And the only other thing you also get, and I'm not sure how it works. I didn't see it listed currently, but I got the free hot, what are these called? Like hot coasters. I want to call them trivets. I don't know. But you get these little things, and they're all cork, and they're sized accordingly. And somehow I ended up with both 2 for the small, and then I got larger ones for my larger pan. Plus, I got a square one over here. So I have 1 per item except the big boy. So I don't know how that worked out. Who knows? But they are nice to have, and they've held up great within the past year. So the reason why I have that one right there is because this one is the perfect one, the final one I got, but the other 3, so I ended up with 4 total. I ended up with the perfect one, the original one, and then 2 other replacements. I gave one replacement to my dad, and then I gave another replacement to a donation, like fundraiser. And then this one I haven't unboxed because this one had minimum damage. So I was like, you know what? I'll just use it until I ruin it, and then I'll have a good backup. Same goes with the 2 replacement lids. Yes, I got them, but everything came packaged like this, bagged appropriately. So this is like a perfect lid, whereas I don't remember which one it was. It was to that one. That one's not perfect. That one has some damage, but I'm storing the perfect ones till I further damage it myself. And you could, some people may say that's not like morally right to do, but they didn't want it back. And like if they don't want it back, then I'd be using the new ones, but they didn't. And I appreciate that. So anyhow, so I have my backup Caraway, which I'm probably about to have to get into it, and I'll explain why in just a sec. I kept my box way longer than needed because the return policy is only 30 days. I don't know, that's the guaranteed return policy. I don't know if, you know, say at 60 days you ruined an item, if they would take it back. I don't have that experience. All of my exchanges, not even exchanges because, or not even returns, replacements is what happened to me because I never returned it and I didn't exchange it. But all of mine were immediately when I was receiving on. I opened that day and see a damage. So I can't really speak to how the return policy is after the initial 30-day return policy. But I had great customer service. It was frustrating that it took me 4 tries to get a great pan. But to me, it was still worth keeping just to go through that struggle because I did. In the time I was waiting for the perfect big boy, this one, I was enjoying cooking with all the other ones so much that it was worth it to me to go through that hassle of contacting covers. It was worth it for me to go through the hassle of dealing with customer service so much just to get the set complete and like how I liked it. So I've said this is what I've been cooking with for the last year, and that is completely true. I did not get rid of all my cookware until just a week ago. I put it in an extra closet and kept it just in case I didn't like these, or I had slight concerns that these wouldn't be enough pieces for me. Previously, I had a huge set. I think it was like 12 pieces or something, not including the lids. So I was used to having all that, but surprisingly, I never went and pulled out any of the other pieces. There's only 2 other pieces of cookware I use to subsidize that, and that is a 1-quart mini. They call this mini. This is not that mini. If you want to just heat up 1 can of vegetable or something like that, I like a 1-quart saucepan for that. So I wish they would make an extra mini of this, of the pot, but they haven't. So I just have like a TJ Maxx small one that I use as well. And then the only other thing I have is a stainless steel, huge pot for boiling spaghetti and stuff like that. It's ginormous. Other than that, I haven't brought out any of my old cookware. I've only been using this. So, and if you do watch my channel, if you're a normal subscriber, you know, I do what I eat in a day videos and health and fitness journey. So I'm cooking a lot, and I'm cooking a lot on camera so you can see real life experience. If you look online, especially even on YouTube, there's a lot of mixed reviews on this cookware. And I think I understand why that is. So I want to go into that and really tell you, let's discuss it. Let's dig in, right? Okay, so these are all the rules for the cookware on the Caraway side. I kind of broke them apart, summarized them. I mean, one of the rules or guidelines tell you to wash it. I'm not going to tell you that. We all know we got to wash cookware when it first comes. So rules like that, I'm skipping over. But there are a lot of rules, and that is one of the main complaints. And I will say, if you don't follow some of these rules, your cookware will be crap really quickly. A few of the rules, you can probably push those boundaries, but I do know it's probably decreasing the life of the cookware, but I still choose to push that boundary just because it's more convenient to me. But I know I'm decreasing the life of my cookware. But let's go through these rules, and I'll focus on which ones I do follow and which ones I think you can kind of turn a blind eye, if you will. Okay, one thing they say is you need 100% dry bottom before you start cooking. I think we can all do that. That's simple. I understand if you're in a rush and you're washing a pan and gonna reuse it, but hey, take the couple seconds and just make sure it's dry. I've always done that and haven't had a problem. The other rule is you really only can cook low to medium heat. And this is a rule I pretty much live by with certain types of cooking. If I have something in the pan that's super saucy, super liquidy, I don't mind boiling it in my cookware. If I'm cooking orzo or something like that, I will boil water in here. My husband's like, oh no, you're not supposed to boil. If I'm boiling water or something like that, or if I got a marinara and it's heating up. However, I do not cook low above. However, I do not cook above low to medium when I am searing things, any type, when it's drier in the pan. To me, that is a no-go on this type of cookware. It's just not meant for that type of hard searing. If you're looking to hard sear something, you really should be using a cast iron or what's the other? Stainless steel also. So just don't expect to, cook on this cookware at high heat, especially when you're cooking dry type items. Okay. Another rule, which I didn't know was a rule, so obviously I probably haven't really been following it, is that you should always preheat your pans at least 90 seconds prior to adding the oil. I don't cook with a lot of oil since I am on Weight Watchers, so I use more spray, olive oil, and stuff like that. But they do recommend that, so I can't speak to if that makes a difference in the life of the pan or not, but it was an interesting rule for me. The next rule is to skip the aerosol and skip the sprays like the PAM, like the pump aerosol. I used to have one, it stopped working. You put the oil in it and then you pump it up and spray it. They say don't use any aerosols or any sprays. For the first 4 or 5 months, I really did that. And then I kind of just got laxed on it for no particular reason. And I haven't noticed a reason if it's like good or bad, so it hasn't impacted my cookware yet. However, I do know when you use PAM, even on like your cookie sheets and whatnot, it leaves a big residue over time. So I'm thinking that's what their concern is, that even when you wash it, you're not removing that residue. And if your residue is building up on the ceramic coating, it's over time going to cause the cookware not to work the best it can, how it was designed to. Okay. The other thing, and I definitely follow this rule, is to never leave the pan heating when it's empty. And that is, like I said, for that dry heat. These type of pans just don't like dry heat for long periods and high temperatures. So I just make sure when I'm preheating, it's only, short, which follows into the next rule, which is when you do add oil to the pan, allow it to heat for only like 20 or 30 seconds and then immediately start cooking. I know a lot of people, myself included, historically, I will add, a tablespoon of olive oil to the pan and then like do 5 minutes of chopping, which is not good for olive oil because it has a low smoke point and it'll turn brown real quick. But I'll do it with vegetable oil too. But I definitely stopped doing that because I realized these pans, it'll turn brown really quickly, and I'm assuming it's ruining it, so I stopped. Okay, an obvious one is no metal utensils. This is any type of ceramic coating cookware. It recommends silicone, nylon, that sort of thing, plastic. One thing you also have, let me demo. Okay, sorry about that. But see, this is an example where, yes, it's okay because it is plastic, nylon, not sure what it is. Or nylon is a form of plastic, right? Anyhow, this is an instance where when I first started using items like this, this is a metal handle and I was banging it on the side when you try to get everything out. So that is a high no-go because the ceramic coating comes up on the side. So when you bang that, it's using metal and it's chipping it away. Lucky for me, I noticed that when I was using this one, which is like not my best one. So that's one thing to keep in mind too. Just don't like aggressively bang your spoon on the side. I had that bad habit I didn't know I had. Okay, another thing they don't recommend is to slide it across the cooktop, that it could scratch your cooktop or it can scratch the underneath. I think that's pretty obvious. One rule that I absolutely do not follow, I did at the very beginning, like maybe for a month, is letting your cookware cool 100% prior to washing it. And this is for thermal shock. They say it could potentially crack. The reason why I don't follow this rule is because I think the odds of it cracking are much less than the odds of something on the outside staining. So I don't take it straight from the burner and run it under cold water, don't get me wrong. But if I'm cooking spaghetti and some spaghetti sauce got on the outside of it, I will take it over to the sink and maybe rinse off that one area, or at least take a washcloth and, you know, wipe that area clean. I never leave things that I never leave items and food in the pots and pans while I go eat dinner that I'm scared will stain, because I've seen online that this cookware has a high tendency to stain, and that's why a lot of people don't like it. So I go out of my way to ensure mine does not stain. The other tip is to absolutely not use anything abrasive. That is why they give you this little nifty sponge. Overall, these, you would think abrasive, not abrasive, you use them on everything. I would not recommend using anything like this on your Caraway cookware if you don't want little swirl marks. However, if it's completely drenched, it doesn't really do the swirl marks if it's like really wet, but if you do it and it's not completely wet and soapy, this definitely scratches it up. And again, lucky for me, I learned that on one of my already bad lids. But that one shocked me. I did not think just like that scrubber, when they said non-abrasive, I thought they meant like don't use like SOS pads and that sort of thing. I never dreamt like a regular scrubber would scratch them. And even like if you use a decorative towel that has some texture and you dry rub it, it scratches. They scratch very easily. Okay, and then another thing that they don't necessarily say, they kind of say it in a roundabout way, I think. They say skip the seasoning. I don't know if they're meaning skip seasoning it like you would a cast iron, or if they mean don't season your food. Like, they left it vague, and I think they left it vague on purpose, because I do think the intent is not to use, they're trying to tell you not to use chunky seasonings in the pan. And that is because at the heat, and especially drier, they do get in and they will rough up the bottom of your pan. But I don't think they want to directly tell people that, because it sounds bad. Don't season your food in our pan. But anyhow, so those are the rules. And I think a lot of people, when they buy this cookware and they see all those rules, it really takes them aback. And it did me initially. When I first read these rules, I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I can't keep up with all this. I can't imagine doing this, blah, blah, blah. But then when I went and researched other similar cookwares, they all have these same rules, or very, very similar in this design. Granted, if you're looking at stainless steel cookware, you know, they're not gonna have those rules. But if you're looking for some ceramic coated, non-stick coated, they all have these similar rules. So don't really let that scare you. And another thing I will say is, yes, you have to take care of it. You have to maybe go out of your way just ever so slightly if you want to keep it looking brand new, like mine pretty much is. But I'm assuming you don't really mind that if you're looking at higher end cookware, because that's recommended for all mid-range to high-end cookware. So if you're a person that wants to like set this out on the counter and really, you know, focus on how it looks, it may drive you insane, because every little thing shows up on the top, meaning smudges, fingerprints. Can you see? Can you see? Yeah, see the fingerprints? That used to, every time I dried them, I used to try to focus and get them very clean. Now it doesn't bother me. I just put them up in the cabinet and just be done with it. And you know, it's gonna have fingerprints, it's gonna have smudging. To me, I use it as a cookware set, so I'm not using it as, you know, something to spruce up my home. So have I noticed any discoloring on the bottom and sides of my pan? As of last week, I would have said no, I have not. But the other day, I noticed it. Besides this part definitely, but I think that's normal for all cookware. But on this pan, for the first time, I noticed a little bit of discoloring happen right there in that area. Can you see it? Just a little right there. And I did try to scrub it with their scrubby, this one, and it did not come off. And then I looked at my other ones and there is none of the coloring. I do have some very minor nicks from storage, I would assume. But other than that, there has been one issue, and it was within the last month. My big boy finally got a divot in it. I don't know when it happened, but it is definitely, the ceramic coating has been damaged. It's little, but it's quickly getting bigger over time. And just 2 nights ago, I did some steaks with some thick, coarse Chicago seasoning on them. And I had the pan too hot and it was too dry. And sure enough, where the seasoning was, made little circles all throughout it. So that was my learning lesson there. Let's see if there's any discoloration on this one. Nope. Do have a nick. That may have been one of the initial damage though, I believe it was. And the initial damage on this one was on, it's hard to see with the reflection. It was right there on the inside. See that? You can hear it. So the ceramic coating was already damaged on this one. That's why I got the replacement. So I'm not too heartbroken about this, but it did remind me that this is delicate cookware and I may need to watch out just a little. Okay, so do you want to see for one final test, how has the ceramic coating held up in the egg challenge? When I first got them, again, I lost the footage, I apologize. When I first got them, the first thing I did was go crack an egg on it without any oil or anything and see if it stuck. It did not stick. I went like that, it slid right out. Even though the spare one I gave away, that person was so impressed. They did the exact same thing with the egg. So I can't show you the original, but we can come over and see after a year of use what it does with the egg test. That's what the main test, right? So I'm gonna turn it on medium. Let it heat up. And it said 90 seconds, so I'm waiting for 90 seconds. Okay, let's see. I don't think I let it heat, but see, it said only 90 seconds, and that's what I did. Looking good. It does not slide. Does not. See. Oh, it's coming up. Nope. 100% stuck. So that answers that question. It is not sliding. So I honestly didn't know how that test was gonna go because every time I cook an egg, I do add spray oil. Now that is breaking the rules. So perhaps if you don't add spray oil to yours, that your pan will still be 100% slick for the egg challenge after a year. That's not a huge deal to me. I naturally want to add something in the pan to cook with. So not a big deal to me at all. I mean, if I would have sprayed just a tiny bit, it would have slid perfectly and no big deal. So overall, like I said, I do recommend these. I would if I had a house fire and they got ruined, I would absolutely repurchase them if I could. And I do recommend them to friends. Now, however, if you're someone that doesn't want to go the extra step to, you know, make sure you're not banging them. I don't stack them in the sink when I put them away. Maybe you have kids, that sort of thing. I would maybe just get a super cheap set from Walmart and not invest in this, just knowing that you're going to be rough on them and have to replace them more often. But like my last set of cookware I had for well over 10 years, and I expect and hope to have these similar, you know, maybe closer to 8 years, because something new comes out and I want whatever's new. And I cook a lot, so I use my pots and pans a whole bunch. I would say probably more than, you know, most families. Maybe not more than most families. I don't know. I cook a lot. But when I was saying about the colors, if you just go on Google or YouTube, you can see that everyone's showing their pans are completely stained on the bottom and the sides. That's why I was saying, really pay attention to what color you get. Yes, that baby pink is so pretty, especially the monochrome one. But the minis aren't in the monochrome colors, just FYI. But that baby pink, you know, I really think if you get some marinara on the outside of that and you don't immediately wipe it up, it's going to stain. That they just do. The paint they use, maybe they'll improve it throughout the years, but it definitely stains, and that's a problem. If you have a gas stove and the flames come up under it and over the sides, I would assume that's gonna stain as well. So I find the darker the color helps mask that. Like you saw, only one of mine has a little stain. So that's it, friends. And this is 100% unsponsored. If they want to send me some stuff, I will. Oh, hang on. I forgot. I have one more thing. Yeah, I almost forgot. For some reason, I bought one single cook sheet pan. I think I just really wanted to try it out. I do really enjoy these sheet pans. I don't think they'll last as long as the cookware. I just don't feel like it will. Maybe because how I store it in a horizontal cabinet, you know, sliding it in and out. So you definitely see that on the painted edge. You can tell from me sliding it in and out. It's not as bad as I thought it'd be after a year. Like originally when I got it, I thought it would look awful. It doesn't look awful. I mean, you see some little damage there, but not too bad. But I am noticing a breach in this ceramic coating down there, and I have no idea how that happened. So I haven't bought the rest of the set. I don't know. I may buy the bakeware at some point. Although I see the bakeware not lasting as long as the cookware. And I think that's because, you know, if you get cupcakes and it's like hard baked, you really got to scrub. I don't know. That's just my mentality, like why I haven't purchased the bakeware. So, what? Anything else? That is it. Okay, friends. Bye. Thanks for watching. Have a good day.